excuse me. Something wrong?
No, sorry guys. I did not know we were done with the music. Tony, I got busy talking.
And I'm talking.
On the side, I am so sorry for the dead air. That was Super Geek League. They're real here in Seattle, and that is the group I actually perform with every now and then. So sorry about that. We were actually talking about behind the scenes here about some of my old topics that I had on the show long time ago. One of them was identifying local music. What is local music between here and versus Germany or over there international. So I got into the conversation that Tony was talking about and completely spaced. So relive what you were talking about local music, because I don't believe in local music either, because music is everywhere if you look at it. I think in a way local music can be in your own area, but what was your thinking about that?
Right. I mean, I think, let's say, if you have a community, you have a scene, you have, let's say, places to go to, places where there's live music, of course that, that can contribute to a certain kind of music or a certain artist becoming popular, or you can support somebody, or you can listen to somebody, whatever. But music itself doesn't really have anything local about it anymore. Like, as I told you, I studied middle-aged Japanese Zen Buddhist music from, the 16th century, and I studied that music in the 20th century in Tallahassee, Florida, and I live in Germany, and I listen to, whatever, so our way of consuming music, our technology has enabled us to go way, way, way past local. I mean, even if you study classical music and play the violin, which isn't really exotic, but you're playing music from Austria from 300 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So there's nothing, in essence, there's nothing local about music. Now, if you're talking about contemporary singers and songwriters and composers, they're influenced by everything that they see, everything that they have around them. But, we're living in a society where, you asked me, what about the attacks in Paris? What about terrorism in Paris? Well, even if you're living in Seattle, you're influenced by Paris, by Syrian refugees, by, radical Islamists. So what's local about that? I think the only thing local left about music is the possibility of the audience going out and enjoying music live. And, of course, that's a very important aspect, and I wish that people would do that more.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
The very first episode I had on it was a topic about being a musician or being in a band actually is an addictive, which everyone knows I'm performing with Super Geek League, and I've been with them for about 4 years coming up in March. And I don't really think, to me, being part of the band isn't addictive. It actually helped me with more my self-esteem, come out more that I feel better being part of that band than I was before that band. So you've been in part of this music industry for generations. So to you, growing up with it, is it addictive or what? What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't see myself as a human being not making music and not being together with other people and making music with them. That's my life. So yeah, it's kind of it is addictive. I would maybe at some point in my life I might have to do something else, but being in a band and being in that kind of community is really important. But as I said, that isn't really, I wouldn't define that as music per se. That's just one aspect of the music industry, is that we have people going out and making music. But the music itself music is bigger than that, I think that's one of the fascinating things. You could go out and get together with some buddies and hang out at somebody's house and have some pizza and play some music, and that's a very local thing. And then maybe you have some friends that support you, and all of a sudden you have a gig, and all of a sudden you're like a local hero. But does that have anything to do with the music? You might be playing music that is very, very international, that is very universal. It all depends on what you consume, what you're listening to, what you devour in terms of information. And so, you're very, very quickly getting out of the local level in that sense. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
That was sorry, that was a long sentence.
No, that was very fascinating. I have a few people that have been on the show and not as, knee deep into it. Maybe because they haven't been in the industry since birth, in a way, or generations. Right. Since you grow up in this world as the only thing you know, you have a kind of different variety of how things happen to be than other people might have. Sure.
And I mean, another reason why I don't think music can be, let's say, local, in essence, is because you can't play in the same town like every day.
True.
If you want to play music, you got to travel. Like I got to get in my car and go somewhere to play, like almost every day. Like I'm out of the house like 3-4 days out of the week, So if I play somewhere like 500 miles away, is that local? Well, no, not really,
No.
But the fascinating thing is that if you look at, let's say, successful bands, I think, we're kind of coming out of a period in human civilization where we had a bunch of beautiful bands, and I don't know how that's going to continue. But one of the reasons why we had successful bands and beautiful music was because they were part of a subculture. They were supported by a local scene, and that there was a strong identity. And but I think that's a thing of the past in many ways. I don't think we're 10, 20, 30 years down the road from now. I don't think we're going to have the same kind of like identity, because somebody from Seattle who's working as an intern at Amazon is just about the same as somebody from Frankfurt, Germany, working as an intern for Amazon. You have the same kind of life. You consume the same things. You consume the same garbage on television and the internet. And there really isn't a hell of a big difference anymore.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is,
people go out here and listen to Death Cab for Cutie. You don't have to be from Bellingham to listen to Death Cab for Cutie.
No.
So
I think people are so into the point where they're so narrow-minded that they only see one thing and it's all they see. For example, when I started the show, everyone can say, "Oh, well, there's always local music here in Tacoma. Someone's doing this, and someone's doing the same thing." And I decided to change that and go different variety of kind of music outside of Seattle and Tacoma, and bring music together to show people, even myself, learning that there's musicians other side of the country and get their taste on things. And that's how I end up meeting you and everybody else, which I'm kind of fascinating about everything on that side of the world. And then from that, we're getting everyone's different point of views on how things are, not just in the music industry, well, that's being subject, but everything else,
Right. I mean, like beer, local beer, is kind of, an analogy to that.
Yeah.
Like in Germany, every town had its brewery like 100 years ago. Like there might even be 2 or 3 breweries in every town. Then, of course, the 20th century happened, and all of a sudden we got, big major corporations buying up everything. The beer sucks, and nobody wants to drink it anymore. And then everything kind of scales down again, and you get some local breweries happening again. So maybe it comes in waves. I don't know. Maybe 20 years from now, we will only be listening to the music that is produced in the village that we live in.
Maybe.
Wou- Wouldn't
That
that
would
be
suck.
cool? Right. That would be really kind of dramatic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would
You
be.
could not listen to the New York Philharmonic. You could not listen to AC/DC. You could not listen to whoever,
Tony
only
Clark
listen
and
to
Killing
what.
Time.
Yeah, right. You could only listen to homegrown stuff. Wouldn't that be weird?
That would be suck.
Yeah, right.
All right, Tony. I have Tianto. Tonto? Am I saying that right?
Tonto, yeah. It
Okay,
means stupid
that's
in Spanish.
It's stupid. So,
Yeah.
and tell me more. Besides it being stupid in Spanish, tell me more about the song.
It's kind of about Dick Cheney and the first Iraq War. It's kind of about the fact that we devour shit from the news and believe it, and there's really really bad people out there making shitloads of money, and other people are dying, and that's what it's about.
Alrighty. And once again, you guys have any questions for Tony? The chat room is open. If you want to chat with us, this is what you guys do. Hang on a second here. When you go,
It's kind of
sure.
like.
What?
Sorry to interrupt, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like Audio Slave playing in Cuba. That's what the song is about. It's kind
Oh,
of
is
like
it?
anti-imperialist.
Okay, before we get into the show, real quickly, the chat room is open. How you guys do that, be sure you guys to update the show by clicking on the follow button on the website, and you can create your account and you come into the chat room. Or I do have a phone number. The lines are open. I got 360-464-4216. And here is Toronto, stupid in Spanish.
It starts soft. It doesn't stay that way.